help most people. So this is a video about my methodology and philosophy for singing. It's not going to be so much about techniques because there's loads of really good videos for that on the internet already, although I might do some more specific techniques that I use in a separate video. In general, I think these tips I have will help beginners or more advanced singers, although of course the more advanced singers might not need them as much, but yeah. So anyway, into the first tip. The first tip is make sure you're singing songs that you're interested in, because if you're trying to sing a song that you feel is the most appropriate for you and fits your current skill level, you're probably going to lose interest. It's okay to have a few songs that are kind of more appropriate for your range and technical ability to warm up, but I think at the end of each singing session you should have a few songs that you're just really excited to sing, or that you listen to on your phone or whatever, because you need these like markers, you need these goals to stay motivated, and it doesn't really matter actually at the end of how well you're singing it, because you're probably going to be in private anyway, so just sing and have a go at it. And straight to the second point, and this is the most important one, it's don't be afraid of sounding bad or making a bad noise or anything like that. There's like this misconception with singing and singers that you either have it or you don't, and if you're not able to sing well at one particular point in time, then you should just stop, because that's it. And with this misconception, it applies to a lot of the great classic singers like Aretha Franklin or Al Green on the soul side, or you have people like Robert Plant and Freddie Mercury on the more rock and roll side. And people just assume like they're born with that ability, and they lose sight of the fact that these people have had thousands and thousands of hours of practice, and depending on the person, they might know people or have had influences at a younger age that got them started sooner. So if they started when they're a child, they're going to have over a decade's experience before they're even 20. And yeah, you just don't see the mistakes and the bad noises that they're making in their practice. And I think also it's, with this in mind, there is possibly an inherent potential that a singer has, but you don't really know where your ceiling is until you actually put in the time and the practice, and also the practice with the assumption that you can sing to the highest ability, because you won't really know if you can get there unless you assume you can. And then even if you fall short of that, you'll still have got further than if you assume you're just an average singer. So yeah, never be afraid of making a bad sound, because you have to kind of figure out all the mistakes and the wrong sounds to make before you know how to make the right ones. It helps as well to have like a good pitch and a good ear for the notes, because then you know where you're aiming. But that can be trained with doing scale work and more of the kind of conventional technical skills. But yeah, that really is the main thing you want to do. You never want to worry about sounding bad, because if you're practicing in private, just make whatever noise. And then lastly, just on a kind of more technical side to go along with that, one rule is you never want to be straining or hurting yourself. So like what I said, if you're singing the song that you really enjoy but you're maybe not quite able to hit the notes at the end of your practice session, try just scraping into the notes, so you can sing more nasally and you can use your mask and try and sing more kind of in the upper part of your head. I'll do another video on this explaining it more in depth, but if you're going for a note and you feel like you're going to have an awful voice break, you're going to pop out or something, or you're just not sounding very good on the notes, but you are getting them, you're on key, you're just not having that fullness and resonance in your voice. If you get to the point where you're going to get a note or not, and you feel like you're going to have to clamp down and strain, just let it go, let your voice go out of tune, make that weird voice breaking sound, and then just start the song again, or just go back 10 seconds, have another go, and try and refine the technique. Don't try and muscle your way through, because you might get away with it once or twice, but long term you're probably going to just wreck your vocal cords, and yeah, it's just not really a good idea. So anyway, those are the main points. To recap, sing things that you want to, songs that you're passionate about, don't be afraid of making a bad sound, and lastly, don't strain. Cool.